Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I've got another business video for you. Sometimes I feel like I'm doing really bad in life and I feel way behind other people my age and not where I imagined that I would be. And then I was thinking of the title or thinking of the concept of this video, and I was like, how I started 4 businesses by age 24. And I was like, oh, that's actually really good. Not that I'm doing all of them anymore, only one, but yeah, I just thought that would be a good thing to talk about in case you've got this thing that you've been thinking about starting up, or a side hustle you've been wanting to do, or this idea that's been in the back of your mind but you just haven't taken the leap yet. So before we get into the video, I'll just introduce myself. My name is Cassie Amber. I'm a plant-based holistic nutritionist. And I also have a very exciting announcement. By the time this video goes live, I would have just launched my new podcast called Plant Powered. So I had it sitting ready to go for 2 weeks, and for the first time ever I've actually been nervous to launch, and it was just sitting there with these episodes on and I hadn't told anyone about it. So that would have launched now, so you can go check it out on Spotify and it's on Apple Podcasts. So I'll put all of the links below. So yeah, if you want to hear more nutrition talks and a few more business videos, like this video and subscribe to my channel, and yeah, let's get into it. So the first business I started, I was still a teenager, I think, like maybe 19 or 20. I was pretty young. So I started my hotel management degree when I was 17. That was 3.5 years, and then I must have been 21, moved to Auckland, and then I started a social media management business called Flair Management. I just started taking Instagram seriously and was really getting into all the whole content creation thing, and I love taking photos, editing them, writing captions. And I had an ongoing client which was Poke Bar, which was awesome. So I'd go there, I interviewed the staff who would talk about how they prepare the food and where they get the ingredients from, and take videos of them cutting it up and preparing the bowl. So just more behind the scenes stuff, and talk about the health benefits of it. So that one was really fun. And I did like a few casual jobs, and then I did like a promo video for a guy who was doing fitness classes, which was awesome. And then that kind of just died off after a while, because that's when I decided that I wanted to be a nutritionist instead after I just got my degree. And I worked in the industry in a corporate office for 1 year and 8 months, and then yeah, once I cured my own health issues through food, I was like, oh my god, I have to teach other people how to do the same. And I just thought that there would be a lot more meaningful work to me personally. So then the social media business kind of died off, and then I studied nutrition. I've had a few questions about where I studied. It's called AFPA. It was American Fitness Professionals and Associates. So it was an American online course that I did, but that one was focused on the whole plant-based side of things. They talk about the blue zones where people live to 100 years and older with the least amount of degenerative disease. It was just such meaningful studies, not just how to lose weight. That's why I just thought it was such a good course to do, because it focuses on way more important things like preventing disease, living longer, more energy. Like, it was just really a good course that I did. So then I started doing recipe development for brands, and some vegan companies would send me their products. Like, I partner with this cooking oil company called Cocavo, and I got sent like vegan cheeses to make recipes for, and all those random things. So I would do recipes and I could list it on my website, and they could share it on theirs, and then I would like blast it out to all my social media. So I was doing that, and then learned how to make meal plans and meal guides, and I had my first few online programs as well. So I did a 6-week winter wellness workshop, and Reset and Rejuvenate, and a few other ones which are really cool to do with my group of clients. And then right before I left New Zealand to move to Australia, I held a cooking workshop as well. So it was really out of my comfort zone to talk in front of a group of people, but it was really cool to get out of my comfort zone and do new things like that. So the next business that I had was a food truck called Plant-Based Power. So I moved to Oz, and then my ex-mother-in-law at the time, she decided to be my business investor, and then she bought me this food truck, which was my dream. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever, and I fell in love with it. I was just so excited. It was very cute, like not much storage space. it was so small, like I had to pack everything down each day. I had to seatbelt the coffee grinder into the car and like the coffee would always spill everywhere, and it was very small and cute, but it was just my baby. I absolutely loved it. So that was called Plant-Based Power, and I did some salads and raw slices, and I tried something very risky that most people wouldn't do, but I didn't even have cow's milk there for the coffees. I only had plant-based milks, which was very controversial, being in the beef capital of Australia. And most people were pretty open to it because I was parked on the side of a highway outside this beautiful mountain. The view was stunning. Like, that's the good thing about living here. When I lived in Auckland, I had to travel an hour and a half for work and it's just driving through concrete. But here, when I drive an hour to work, it's just through this vast landscape of like beautiful paddocks and trees, and it's just really pretty out there. So sometimes like middle-aged men truckers would stop by and they were like, ask for their coffee, and then I told them, oh sorry, I only have plant-based milks, blah blah, and they're like, oh well, just give me what you think then, and they're a bit hesitant, and then I'd make it for them and they're like, oh, it's quite good actually. So I got quite a good response, even though it was quite a bold move to do, and there was only a couple times people turned away. This whole family hopped out of the car and I was like, yes, I've got some customers, and they walk up with their kids, and then I told them that and they're like, oh come on kids, and like left disgusted because I don't have cow's milk. So there was a couple of people who didn't like it, and this very, very overweight lady at one of the farmers markets was like, do you know how bad those are for you, blah blah blah, and it's like, okay, well, you're telling me. But most people were pretty open to it. I was lucky enough to be in the newspaper twice within the first few weeks of opening, which was amazing, and luckily I'd had the previous experience with doing all the food photos and social media stuff right when I launched, because it created like a lot of interest within the public. One of the hardest things was having to learn all the legal side, because I'm good at cooking the food, I can take the food photos, customer service, I can make the coffee, but like I had to learn myself how to get it all legal, how to get get it legal as a food premise. I had to make the menus. That was fine, it was kind of just in my head, but trying to do like the food cost of sales was really difficult for me, even though that was in my degree. I'm just not a numbers person. And then I had to get my food handling certificate, which was fine, but it was more just you have to like ask the council where you can park and get all these different permissions and stuff. So that took me a good 6 weeks before I went live to get all that side of it sorted. So there was a few challenges with it. My ex-mother-in-law gave me her generator to power the food truck, and it probably broke down about 15 times in 6 weeks that I was live, and I don't know about generators. I would make all this food, I'd be up at 3 o'clock in the morning so that I could be ready out there by 5 a.m. kind of thing, and then I'd tell all my customers, hey, I'm going to be out at the mountain tomorrow like usual, blah blah blah, shared the menu, get out there, and then the generator wouldn't start the trailer, and I just had to go home, and then would disappoint my customers who like were waiting to get their lunch from me and stuff, and then it created like a lot of irregularity, and then I just had to put all the salads in the fridge. They're just not as nice the second day, and that was a huge issue. We took the generator in to get fixed, and they're like, oh no, there's nothing wrong with it, and then it would break down again. And then also because it was an outverter generator, not an inverter. I don't know if outverter is the word, but you know what I mean, like the loud one that doesn't manage the noise. So the noise is really loud, but that doesn't manage the power either. So it created a surge of power that broke down the coffee grinder that wasn't even mine, that was from the coffee supplier. And then I was out there again, and then had to be like, sorry guys, I've got no coffee today, and then had to turn around and go home, waste all my food again. And it was just this never-ending cycle of things breaking down. One day I remember the car broke down, the trailer, and I think it was the grinder in the same day, and like it was just so bad at times. And I just remember having all these mental breakdowns because I didn't know how to handle it, I didn't know how to fix it, I didn't know what to do, because I've never done that before. There was an issue because I was parked on the side of a busy highway, people had to pull off to come to me, and it might be hard for them to get back onto the traffic if there was too many cars. So if I didn't have enough customers each hour, it was actually costing me more for the petrol to keep the generator on just to be parked there than I was actually earning, not including the cost of the coffee and all of the containers and the food ingredients and all of that stuff. So it was really a big learning curve about actually having stock for the first time, not just an online business. I actually had invoices to pay and things like that. So it was really cool that I was bold enough to introduce such a new concept for people in this town, because there's not many plant-based or vegan people here. It's quite unheard of and people aren't really open to it, I feel. So this all ended when I got, I haven't put this on my social media yet, the exact details, but this all ended when I got called in for a meeting, and my investor said to me, I thought she was going to ask if I wanted to keep the car as well and add that to the lease or not, or if I wanted to save for my own car. So I got there and they said, you've got 7 days to come up with 22 grand or we sell the whole thing. I was heartbroken. I just moved to Oz. I'm not eligible for any loans here. You need 2 years worth of business financials, and I had 6 weeks worth of business financials. And in New Zealand, I'd been studying and only doing casual work, so I'd never had a steady income. So I just had to say goodbye to it. So I still kept going out there trying to make the most of every day, and then the generator broke down again, and I was just so heartbroken. And it even cost me $500 just for the logo to be put on the side. That just got like ripped off, and then $500 just to make it legal. So like that's $1,000 down the drain. Plus, like, just the day before, I bought all this new stock for the coffee. I got all these different latte mixes, a bunch of new containers, like hundreds of dollars worth of stuff I just ordered. So you just can't, it was just horrible, but there's no contracts either. So there's nothing that I could do about it. So I had to say goodbye. So I definitely cried a lot, because that was my dream. And then I decided to keep just doing meal prep for people. So I just kept with the same coffee supply, but instead of coffees, I would still just buy it was like compostable, kind of environmentally friendly containers. And I just kept doing the salads, and then I'd sell it from the fridge at the health store. I had one lady in Rockhampton who bought 10 meals off me a week, all of her lunches and dinners. And then I tried things like delivering food around Yeppoon, but just, it was so hard. Like, it was probably more expensive for the time and the gas than I was actually making. I was making like no profit on top of the food, but I worried if I charged too much for it, then they wouldn't want to buy it in the first place. So there's one time I was driving around in the heat. I had a flat, my phone was dying, and one of the guys gave me the wrong address twice, and I was like, just driving around, everything's melting in the car, and it was just such a mess. So I decided I was just selling from the health store. And then also with the lady in Rockhampton, I didn't charge her for travel time to get there, which was almost an hour each way and probably $20 gas round trip. But then I worried if I increased the price, then she would just buy food elsewhere as well. So it was really hard to make that balancing act. And then eventually the owner of the health store, like my manager, said that it was fine to sell my food out of there, but then the owner wanted 30% of the profit, I believe, and I couldn't even pay myself that, so I had to stop that as well and just give that up. So that was a big journey. I was doing it for months and months, cooking until my body could no longer stand. It was very exhausting trying to cook for all those people. So great concept. I love the idea of trying to give them my plant-based food and make life easier for them, but it wasn't doable for me. The other thing with all the food prep, I never got somewhere to buy the food at wholesale price either. I think because I didn't have like storage space where I could store so much stuff, I was kind of just going shopping every couple of days, so I wasn't even paying wholesale. I was already paying consumer price for the food and then charging a little bit more. So that's just where like it created this awkward thing, because I just didn't have the right setup to do it all. So yeah. So this year, after all of that went down the drain, I decided to just hone in on my nutrition business and really focus on that, do some consultations from the health store, carry on with my online business, because that's what I wanted to be, a nutritionist. So I've carried on doing that, and since then I've had a few clients. I've done some more online programs. Me and my business partner, we're doing Sculpt, Nourish, Glow at the moment. So I do the nutrition side, mindset. She does the fitness programs and mindset, and we just help motivate everyone throughout the 8 weeks, which was awesome. That one's really fun. I still do content for other brands as well, but depending on the value, like if they want actual recipes then I'll charge for it, but if they just want like a photo of the food, I'll do it in exchange for the product, if that makes sense. So it depends on how much work actually has to go into it and the value of the product. And it's been kind of weird over the last few months trying to break down barriers as to why people here might not want to see a nutritionist. I've been trying to think, what's the missing piece of the puzzle? Do they think that I'm just going to tell them off for everything they eat and then give them the strict plan of only salads and they can never have anything they like, and it's going to be this horrible like diet plan or something? Or are they going to, I don't know, feel really restricted and feel guilty about everything? So I've been trying to break down that. As mentioned earlier, it is the beef capital and I specialize in plant-based diet. So I do everything. If people want to eat vegan and eat a healthier a healthier whole foods vegan diet, I help them with that. If people want to go plant-based, I help them with that. Or if people just want to eat more natural food in general, I definitely help them with that, just steering away from more processed food and showing them more healthier alternatives. So I don't just do plant-based, but I think that could be a barrier. People think like, oh, that's the vegan girl, like I don't want to be vegan. So I've definitely been trying to figure out all of that side. So it is a limiting belief thinking that here, but it's also an opportunity because there isn't really anyone else doing the same style of things that I'm doing. So I'm just trying to think of it like that and just keep pushing it and keep providing valuable information. And I do the Facebook for the health store as well, so I just provide all these different tips. So that's going good. And I'll just keep going with the online stuff. I just released my new ebook as well, Cassie's Kitchen Combos, which is just combinations of food. It's as easy as you can get, no recipes required. And for people who do want something a bit more extensive, I've got my Eat from the Earth meal guide. So that's got over 140 recipes, breakfast, savoury snacks, lunches, sweet snacks and desserts and dinners. So it has also been weird as well. I had a video call with my coach and I said I don't really know how to promote this because I follow a lot of bodybuilders as well, and their coaches will give them this strict plan with what they've got to eat every day, calorie breakdown, macro breakdown, and they adjust it depending on what week they're on. Even if people aren't bodybuilders, they're still getting those kind of plans. And I said to my coach, I was like, what am I even selling? Because it's just easy. It's like, eat all this nice food and however size portions you want and whenever you want. So it's not like, I was like, how do I sell that? But she said it's not easy for them because they don't know how to tune in with their bodies and they don't know how to feel for what they need or anything. So that's a whole new journey for them. So it's just a whole different take on like a new side of nutrition. So that's what I'm focusing on at the moment. So I could only think of 2 major fails that I've had so far. The first one was when I was at my corporate job and I decided that I wanted to leave that, and I actually got offered the opportunity to supply food to a cafe. So I made up a plant-based menu. I was a bit uncomfortable dealing with animal products. It's kind of against my values to serve meat. So we all agreed on that and I made them up this menu. And then on my last day of work at a 5-star hotel in a corporate office, we're in a suit every day, my last day of work, this cafe said, actually, no, you can't do plant-based because they're worried that they would lose customers. And I was like, I just quit my job. This is my last day. Really, really bad. So that was horrible. I was just left there for a while, like not knowing what to do. Like, it annoys you sometimes. And then the second one, when I first moved to Oz, that's right when COVID hit. I think it might have been just before COVID hit and I was still trying to find a job and stuff. And then I decided, let's do like sugar body scrubs at the farmer's market. So I made up all these scrubs. I bought this thing, a big lot of coconut oil, all these jars. I made up these little labels, got all my stickers printed. I did like orange and cinnamon, coffee scrub, and a couple of other ones. Went to the markets probably on 5 or 6 different occasions, and honestly no one cared about my product. On one of the days I earned $12 in 5 hours, and then the organizer comes past and charges me $12 for the price of the stall. and I spent like days preparing it, all the stuff, designing all my little logos, sitting there for 5 hours, and like no one cared. So that was very awkward. And then I just had all of the sugar scrub that ended up going off because I couldn't sell it in time, so that sucked as well. So to finish up, I just wanted to say that the most successful people in the world fail more times than the average person even tries. And I remember even when I was like 19, I built my own website by myself. It took me 6 weeks over the summer holidays in between uni to make my website, and I was just like learning how to do it all myself, and now I can do anything I want on my website. So I've really just taken the time to teach myself everything that I know today. I guess I just love creativity and progressing and helping people and achieving small goals often. It makes you feel really good when you overcome a new challenge or learn a new skill and improve or expand on current skills. And the other thing is, at least I can say that I love what I do every day. So I even learned to DJ during the COVID lockdown, which was really fun. So I'm definitely going to keep going with that in the future, whether it's doing content creation or modeling, or now I've got the podcast as well, so I'll link that below. And I'm just going to keep building an audience and continue to educate and inspire them every day, because that's what makes me feel good. So this is your sign. If you've got something that's on your mind and you've just been too scared to try it or worried about what other people think, like I could have let all of that hold me back this whole entire time and think, oh no, what are people going to think of my YouTube videos? What are people going to think of my podcast? What are people going to think of me doing this thing? But what you love and what you enjoy is more important than anyone else's opinion, and as long as you're happy, that's what matters the most. So I encourage you to challenge and surprise yourself, otherwise you'll end up wondering what if, and that's something that none of us want. So I'll finish up this video today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it gave you a little bit of a background insight into what it's like to start and run a business. I still feel like a beginner even after all of that. There's still so much to learn, but I hope you enjoyed it. You can follow me on Instagram at CassieAmber. So I post all my nutrition and health and wellness content there. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks for watching.